Hey there, welcome to the first episode of Matt's Digital Odyssey. I'm your host, Matt Marlatt, and I'm really excited you're here. Now, if you're wondering, who is this guy? Why should I listen to his podcast? Well, Brad, I'm a multimedia creator, a tech advocate, and I've been around long enough to witness firsthand the evolution of the tech world. From old computers like the Commodore VIC-20 or IBM 386, and retro gaming consoles to today's cutting-edge computers and AI platforms. And if your name's Brad, I bet you just got a little freaked out just now. You might have heard of my brand, Marlatt Media. I'm a certified digital marketer, content creator, but a huge tech advocate. I'm also a former hardware and software beta tester and Xbox ambassador. I've been passionate about tech for as long as I can remember. In fact, I used to spend hours tinkering with gaming systems. I built my own PC when I was a teenager, and just overall getting lost in the history of tech platforms. I've even worked on podcasts in the past, so it just felt right to bring all these passions together in a show like this. Whether you're into gaming, software, AI, or just how tech is ultimately reshaping our lives, I think this podcast is for you. Anything that can be counted as a platform. Today, I'm just going to give you a bit of a sneak peek by kicking things off on how platforms have evolved from retro consoles to modern tech, and what I've learned along the way. But that's honestly just the beginning. This podcast, I hope, will be your go-to place to get insights, share in the nostalgia, and look ahead at what's next. So let's dive in. So what can you expect from this show moving forward? Well, there's a lot on the horizon. I have some topics I cannot wait to dive into. I'm just super excited to take you all along for the ride, so let's just kind of break it down a little bit here. We'll dive deep into the tech battles that define gaming history. For example, I'm sure many of you remember, or at least were aware, of the fierce debates between the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Was the SNES's Mode 7 graphics better, or did the Genesis's blast processing reign supreme? It's not just nostalgia either. This rivalry shaped the gaming world as we know it. We'll take a look at how the Dreamcast, despite its short life, paved the way for platforms like the Xbox and PlayStation of today. And of course, we'll take a look at the evolution of controllers, their shapes, their functions, and how they've influenced the way we play. We'll talk about how controllers went from simple buttons to sophisticated pieces of tech that we have, and even some of the silly ones like the Kinect. This is honestly where the tech truly gets fun. But it's not just about gaming or gaming consoles. Okay. Gaming is probably my number one passion. I love it so much. But there's so much more to talk about. This podcast is going to explore everything from software tools to AI-driven technology that's transforming the world of creativity. For example, take a trip down memory lane and look at how building a PC back in the day used to be an intricate puzzle. Pieces, if they didn't fit, they weren't supposed to go there, and you didn't have Google to help you out. It's evolved into a streamlined process today, but back then, you had to scrounge through parts and manuals if you were lucky to have them, just to make your system work. You'd cross your fingers, press a power button, and hope it turns on. But now you can practically build a supercharged machine with just a few clicks. And we can't ignore the rise of AI. Tools like ChatGPT are changing the way we create content, write code, and even work. I'll talk about how this tech is shifting workflows, especially for those of us who create content or work with digital tools on a daily basis. Recently, I went for my degree in prompt engineering, and it's been so fascinating. But this does give me an edge where I can deep dive into how to make ChatGPT actually work for you, the listener. Now, what's a podcast without a few special features, right? One thing I'm really looking forward to is bringing in some experts from the tech and gaming industries, at least in the future. I'd love to have people who are actually behind the design of some of these consoles or platforms that we're going to be talking about. People that have some insider stories, some deep knowledge, and unique insights to share. I want this podcast to be more than just my perspective too. I want to bring in as many voices as possible to make it richer and way more dynamic. And don't worry, we won't just be discussing tech from today or even yesterday. We'll take some time to explore nostalgic deep dives, episodes where we look back at iconic moments in gaming history. Think of those behind-the-scenes stories and those quirky elements of retro consoles that just made them so memorable. Whether it's hidden secrets or a game or reasons certain tech decisions were made, these deep dives are going to give you better appreciation of where we've come from. And lastly, we'll venture into future predictions. What kind of tech podcasts would this be if I didn't at least throw some crazy, wild ideas out there? We'll take a geeky look at where AI, gaming platforms, and creative tools are heading. Will the next-gen gaming console be radically different, or will we see incremental improvements? Will AI start creating its own games? I hope not. But it's all up for discussion, and I can't wait to geek out on all of those topics. But I don't want this podcast to just be me talking at you. I want to build a community around this, where we can all share, discuss, and geek out together. So here's how you can get involved. Do you have a burning question about a retro console or cutting-edge technology? Maybe there's something you've always wondered about a certain platform or tech trend that you just don't fully understand. Send it my way. Future episodes will feature listener questions, so your curiosity could shape the next topic. I want to hear from you and dive into those questions that you're all thinking about, or at least asking yourself out loud right now. Like, what's your favorite gaming console or piece of tech and why? I'm sure we all have soft spots for particular platforms or gadgets that defined our personal experience as gamers or tech enthusiasts. Drop me a line and I'll share your story. I'd love to hear about those nostalgic moments and those aha discoveries that helped shape your personal journey with tech. Don't forget to follow me on social media to stay in the loop. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Marlatt Media. I'm going to share mostly my podcast stuff on those two platforms. I'll be posting sneak peeks at upcoming topics, behind the scenes looks, and sharing extra content for those who want to dive even deeper. So go ahead, hit follow, and join the conversation. And if you're enjoying the show, phenomenal. Please hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the exciting episodes I've got lined up. Now, before we wrap up, let's take a quick look ahead at what's coming in the next episode. I'm really pumped for this one, so much that I almost dug a little too deep in this episode. We're going to dive into one of the most legendary rivalries in gaming history, the battle between the SNES and the Sega Genesis. If you were around back in the day, you know how heated those debates were on the school playgrounds. It wasn't just about which console was better, it was about what kind of gamer you were. Were you Team Mario in the SNES or Team Sonic in the Genesis? And don't forget about those cross-platform games. Some of them were only really worth playing if you had the right console. I'll share some of my own experiences from those schoolyard debates and break down what really made those consoles unique. Whether it was the SNES's incredible graphics or the Genesis's powerhouse of sound hardware. You don't want to miss this nostalgic trip down memory lane. And that's it for today's episode of Matt's Digital Odyssey. If you enjoyed the ride, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next one. Drop a comment or send me your thoughts. What's your favorite retro console or cutting edge technology? I'd love to hear from you. And hey, if you've got a friend who's into gaming and tech, as we are, share this episode with them. Let's get the word out. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll see you on the next episode of Matt's Digital Odyssey.